At Bianchi Honda, we want to exceed your expectations for customer service. From our gorgeous showroom and accommodating staff to our extraordinary selection of Honda vehicles and industry-leading service department. Your vehicle should be the best choice for you, and you can find it here at Bianchi Honda. I'm Jason Perico, and I promise to always make it worth a visit.
All right, everybody, I am fired up. I'll tell you that much. Fired up, too. It's a Monday. This is never canceled for holidays. Coach Jim Brunelli from the Gannon women's basketball team. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Let's take a quick look back at the two wins, Johnstown and Greensburg. It's easy for me to remember those games. I didn't see the Pitt-Johnstown game.
Right.
Obviously, every game big, and we're going to get into the big one coming up, but you can't afford a hiccup right now.
No, not at all. We started off that week with Clarion at home, a team that was playing, who's gotten significantly better, and then you go on the road, and road games are always tough, and we had 2 road games there with going down to Pitt-Johnstown because they've been playing teams really close and hanging around, and it ended up being their senior day down there, so we had to come out with a little more focus and energy, and the ladies responded very well, and we jumped out on them and stayed up early, and it really wasn't a game. After we got going, after that first quarter, we were up quite a bit, and it was just a matter of just sticking to it, playing defense, and hitting the open person, and the ladies did just that. And then we finished it off last week. We had a bye week yesterday, and then we were down at Seton Hill on Wednesday, a game that was, every game on our schedule is huge, but when you're trying to avenge a loss from the first time we played them, and I think our whole team was disappointed in that. We just didn't play well that fourth quarter. We kind of imploded and couldn't make shots, couldn't find an open person, and the only open person we could find had another uniform on, and we happened to pass it to them in that game. But down there, it was a really good game through 2 quarters, and then after halftime, that third quarter, about midway through, we got going and clicking on all cylinders, and played very well.
At Seton Hill, thing I was impressed with, the fact that I don't have the exact points. Gave up roughly 25 points in the first quarter, maybe 26, and gave up less than that total in the next 3 quarters.
Yes, yeah. I think the halftime score may have been something like 30-27 or something crazy. It was up there.
Quarter score.
Well, first 2 quarters, and then the third. I think the fourth quarter we held them to 4 points.
Yeah, as I said, they had 25 or something the first quarter and less than 25 total.
Right.
In the next 3 quarters.
Right. Yeah, the ladies played really well. We did some things. We held them to 14 points. It was 30 to 28. I think it was 30 to 27, and then we held them to 14 points in the between the third and the fourth quarter total. So ladies came out and played well.
We had the first quarter score.
Yes, it was. Oh, yes, it was 23-19, and then they scored 7, which would give them 30. We scored 8. We went in down at the half and then came out and played well, held them really well. Especially that fourth quarter, we started playing defense and just being in the right spots.
So they had 21 points in the last 3 quarters combined.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I sit there and I watch a team banging in all these threes. If they're beating you up and down the court and getting the ball inside, maybe I'm a little concerned, but if they can shoot like that the whole game, well, nobody's going to beat them.
Right.
But they were hitting a lot of threes as if they were layups, and it seemed to only be a matter of time. Did you do anything else defensively? They seemed to really struggle getting the ball over.
No, I think one of the things that's been really working for us is just we kind of mix it up a little bit. We'll play a little bit of man, play a little bit of zone, and keep teams, they can't really settle into one or the other. At least for that game, it worked out really well in the sense that like you said, we gave up a couple easy ones. We had some miscommunications on who was supposed to guard who early on in that first and second quarter, and I think they may have got off and made 5 or 6 threes. But then again, knowing that, it's one of those things where there's a reason why you play zone. You know what I mean? And you're going to give up something to get another, and and you just don't think that a team's going to keep shooting 40, 50, 60, 70%, and most of them don't. There's that rare occasion where, it's like, gosh, they're just keep hitting, but they did.
Nobody's going to beat them, so you don't have to get concerned anyhow.
Right. So, and we did that, and we mixed it up a little bit. We went to a 2-2-1, then went back and put a little bit more pressure, got our communication figured out, and those long passes that they were getting in the first 2 quarters, we ended up getting tip steals and different things like that. So it ended up working out really well for us, and then we limited them to 1 shot the majority of the night, which helps.
Jenny Teeth's a double-double machine right now. She's putting together an All-American season.
Boy, she really is. I mean, she's really taken this season, and looking at Jenny, she's done a great job in a sense that, she's played behind some really good post players if you look at her 4 years here. And it was kind of, what is she going to do? What is she going to do when the spotlight's on her? And man, she's soaking it up. She's done a really good job, and she's grabbing rebounds. At times, it's like, I wish somebody else would grab a rebound, but I'm so glad she's on our team, being able to get, tips and tipping it back to herself and grabbing it. We got to keep her playing well, and as well as everybody else.
Wow. Well, this is the home stretch, as they say, and there's 3 games in this home stretch. In the standings, you're 1 behind California and tied with Indiana, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so it doesn't get any bigger right now than day after tomorrow, Wednesday night. Gannon, California. At Gannon, you lost to California. I personally think you're a better team, but they beat you, so you go with that.
Yeah.
Take us through the first game with Cal, because it just seemed you're always on the edge of putting them away.
Yeah, we were right there. It was a really good game back and forth, and no one really had a huge lead either way. I think they started out, going on a little bit of run, getting up by 6 or 7, and then we come back. The key to that game was turnovers. Cal doesn't turn the ball over very much, and we ended up turning it over 18 times. And that was a problem when you're in close games, and I know I've said it a million times, you can probably get sound bites on this show. When you're in close games, you must take care of the ball, and we didn't. And despite all those turnovers, we still had a chance to take control of that game. And then, unfortunately, we ran out of time. But, if you look at the stats, we out-rebounded them by 8. We shot a better percentage from the field. They shot a little bit better from the 3-point line. And then the one other key area, we normally get to the free throw line a little bit more. And I think that game we only got there 7 times. And then we had to foul them towards the end. There wasn't a ton of fouls, but it was turnovers. And then, you just can't turn the ball over against good teams. You really can't.
Well, they had a girl named Suckling or something.
Yep.
And she just bang, 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 3 in the fourth. And I said to Sean, I go, this girl's pretty pure from 3, and she had some shooting 10% or something.
Yeah, going into that game,
it never failed.
Yeah, going into that game, she was shooting 14%.
Yeah.
And I joke with my team, but it's they say a lot of truth is said in jest. I call it the Gannon law. And it's simple. It's someone who isn't really shooting very well is always going to hit against. They won't hit against anybody else. No. But when we play them, they'll hit. And we had some defensive breakdowns in there. We helped on a couple dribble drives when we really shouldn't have. We watched a film back, and you look and you're like, that player really doesn't need help. She has help in the basket. We're leveling them off across the lane, and we had at least 2 situations where we helped when we didn't need to, and they kicked out and hit 3s. And like I said, Gannon lost. Someone's always going to hit a 3 who really wasn't shooting well coming in. Now she's been shooting a lot better since then, but as a team, they're shooting right around 20, 24, 25%, which isn't really great from there. But you don't need to be a great 3-point shooting team when you got people like Barrett and Mickey Glenn. They do a really good job of spreading the wealth around, and you look at their team, they're very similar to us in a sense that they have several players that could go off at any time.
Is her name Mickey?
Mickey Glenn.
Mickey Glenn now was a sophomore point guard on the national championship team, so she obviously can handle pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks to me like if it's not Jenny Teese, it's Mickey Glenn is the player of the year in the West.
I'll tell you what, it'll be interesting to see. I like the way you're thinking. I think Jenny has done a great job as far as you got to look at. I think for a player of the year, and I hate even talking about it right now, but you got to look at the full body of work, and who's been consistent. And I don't know if there's many other players other than those 2 that have been very consistent with their play all year long.
I'm not crazy about a point guard that needs to score, but Jamin Mason for the Edinboro men, Mickey Glenn for California. The thing I like most about her, she didn't force one thing. And usually you get somebody that's averaging and not scoring. Somewhere along the line, they jack up a couple shots they shouldn't. They get a little. She never did, so she scares me there.
Right.
She's a great player.
No, she really is.
Right?
Yep, lefty. They have 3 lefties that start for them, and then they have another kid off the bench who's a lefty that comes in. But no, I think that's going to be the wave of the future. Seeing kids in all 5 spots that can score. I think the days of the pass first, pass second, shoot third are over, just because there's too many schemes that you can go with as a defense. Well, hey, if they're not going to look to score, we're going to play off, we're going to step back, we're going to have help on this side. I think it's important that, for the future, teams are going to be going with those kids that can do a little bit of everything. They can defend, because she's a really good defender, and can put the ball in the basket. And like you said, nothing really looks forced. Now, if you go through her season, I'm sure there's some areas where she's forced some shots, but she does a great job of getting to the basket, penetrating, drawing contact. She's one of the leaders in getting to the free throw line, just not on her team, but I think in the conference. She gets there quite a bit, and that's an easy way. When you're a good free throw shooter, that's an easy way to put some points on the board, is getting to the free throw line.
All right, now I know you can't go into detail. Did you see anything you should change or tweak going into the California game? And again, I know we don't want to get into X's and O's.
It's one of those things where I think, you look at that game, and I've watched it a couple times since then, and it's just the simple fact that you take away the turnovers, and I'm not saying you take away them all. You take away six turnovers, and we're down to 12 now. I think it's a different ball game. I think we're closer, but still, you got to have the defense, everybody on the same page. And I think in the last several games, we have made those adjustments that we needed to make our defense a little bit better. So I think we just want to come out. I think it's going to be a great game. You got two of the top teams in the conference going to battle it out, and I look forward to competing against them.
Doesn't happen often, but you go on the road, Slippery Rock, and these are back-to-back games where you're looking for revenge, as Slippery Rock beat you in overtime here in Erie. Yeah.
It's one of those things where you have that, and right now, we haven't even thought about Slippery Rock other than just looking at scores and seeing what they've done and all that. But right now, our main focus is on Cal. But you're right. You have 2 games back-to-back where you're trying to avenge a loss, and you just got to be in the right mindset. You can't get all angry and mad. You got to go in with some focus and a sense of urgency, and then the big thing is going to be how we are together, offensively and defensively. We got to have each other's back on the defensive end, and then offensively we got to be willing to share the ball because Cal's playing some really good basketball now, and we got to be ready for them.
All right, and the Slippery Rock game. As you said, there's no sense getting all emotional. You got to take care of business no matter whether they beat you or not, because these are must-win situations. How did Slippery Rock put themselves in a position to win in Erie, Coach?
They have, it's one of those things, you're not making any excuses. They have gotten a lot better. Individually, as a team, they have upped their roster. They have three transfers from Division I schools that are doing some really good things. We went in, we came back, tied it up. And then when we went in overtime, I can still remember it now, we got up 4, and then we gave up a 4-point play. Kid hits a 3, and that's like getting a punch in the stomach. And I'm not making any excuses. We had our opportunities, and we didn't take advantage. We missed some shots, we missed some free throws, and then we gave up some second chance points in that game, which ended up leading to a win for them. But after Wednesday, we're going to get focused on them. But right now, all our attention is on Cal, and we're excited about the opportunity. Like I said, I can't believe it. 3 games left in the regular season. It seems like it went a little too fast. I don't know about you.
Well, there are only 3 games left. However, it's impossible to say, well, if you do this, you'll finish here. If you don't do this, you'll finish. Because, first of all, California's 1 up in the loss column.
Yep.
You and IUP are tied.
Right, yep.
So, I mean, you all have tough games come Wednesday night. That may be totally different. And so tiebreakers really don't make sense right now. Because
and it's one of those things, I think fans from the outside, they want to get into that. like you and I talked about earlier, there's always those, hey, if this happens, you can't worry about if this happens. You got to take it one game at a time, and we just, on our end, we have to take care of business in our next 3 games, and the first one's up is Cal, and we just got to come out and hopefully play well.
And then, of course, now it's way far away, a week from Wednesday, though. Rival Mercyhurst, senior night.
Senior night,
You know, that's tough. If you're on the road on senior night, you fear them coming out all fired up. If you're at home, you fear your team coming out too fired up.
Right.
Which is coach speak. I understand that.
A lot of emotion goes into that game. The families are there. They know at the end of the game there's going to be, the big event of calling everybody out in front of a packed house at the Hammer Mill. So there is a lot that goes into it, and you got to have that evenness and that calmness about you. That hey, this is a business. This is a business. We got to take care of the business at hand, and that's winning this game first.
Some of them are playing in front of family. Their family's never seen them play in college.
That is a point.
You start thinking, I've never seen her take a 35-foot hook shot before, but you start thinking, she hasn't played in front of her mother or father and her nieces and nephews and everybody either. Yeah,
and that game, our fans are great every game, but it seems like on those nights when we have senior night, the fans come out just because they wanna show and give support to the men and the women who for the last 4 years have dedicated themselves to making, putting Gannon on the map where they have been. So it's a really nice tribute to them, and hopefully we can be ready to go on that night as well.
Well, with 3 games left, it's kind of nice to be in a position where your future is in your own hands. But is there anything, are you ahead, behind offensively or defensively? Just looking back, I know there's a lot of games to think about.
No, I think we're right where we need to be offensively. Over the last probably month, we've been adding more things, reminding the team of things that we used to do that we've kind of gotten away from, and then defensively, it's always about just trying to be better and being more consistent. I think there's some things this year that. I thought we would be a little bit better at, and just for some reason we're not. So it's like, hey, let's spend less time doing that. Let's tighten up an area that we know we're good at, or hey, we're going to need this, maybe not for this game, but a game down the road that we really need to get better at this because of the last game we were in with them. So it's just one of those things where we're always trying to, get better each time we step on that court.
It's not often, too, you talk about personnel or the rotation. It's pretty much set by now. But Gatewood getting a good look.
Yeah, she has. She has. She's been taking advantage of the time she's been getting in, and in the last several games she's been doing really well. I think especially down at UPJ, she got in, did some real nice things, and then picked up 2 fouls, and then we were able to get her back in. And it's just one of those things where sometimes when you get in a groove, and then you're trying, you're trying, that adrenaline gets going, and then you do something you've done all year long, like cutting a cutter, and they happen to call it a foul, and it happens to be your second one. So that's what happened with her down there. But no, LaShawna's done a really nice job getting in and doing good on both ends of the court. But offensively, I like where her mindset is, and that is being aggressive and getting points and attacking the hoop within the course of the offense. And that's always good. I never really have to worry about her taking a situation where there's a bad shot. It's just one of those things. She gets into the flow of the game and then kind of works her way in there, and she's been hard to stop. So we're going to hope that she continues that for the rest of the season.
She's an interesting little fadeaway near the hoop. She spins to the opposite direction than most people.
Right.
And it just seems to mystify everybody.
Well, it's done a really nice job because a lot of her points have come off of that move, and I think even though you see it on film, there's something about it, like you said, that is a little bit different, but we're hoping that nobody picks up on that.
All right. Yeah. Well, if I saw it, everybody saw it.
Yeah.
Coach Brunelli, good luck. Huge game Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah.
Gannon in California, the defending national champs.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate it, Jimmy. Thank you.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.